Hey everybody, Brian, Kilo Bravo 9 Uniform Zulu Oscar with the Eastern Colorado Repeater Association, coming to you live from System 1. And we have been busy troubleshooting what's been going on with the VHF repeater on System 1. We had several days ago, we had several users tell us that the VHF repeater was hanging on its PTT and was ending after sometimes up to 1.5 minutes with 4 beeps. The 4 beeps in a row that you might hear on the system is due to the RSSI software simply saying, hey, there's an issue with the configuration of the repeater. And so there's several reasons why that could have been happening, but we investigated it. We started on the duplexer troubleshooting it, and we found that, as everyone probably knows already, we sent the original 4-can duplexers, which are right there beyond me. They're not inside the cabinet right now. I have them outside the back of the cabinet, to the manufacturer. The manufacturer did not tune them to the specifications we needed. And so we already knew that ahead of time, but we went ahead and checked the duplexers anyways, took them out of the rack, put them on the bench, and found that they really weren't horrible. But I was able to get a little bit more of isolation between the receive and the transmit side, which the manufacturer showed down anyways. But I did find that the number 4 can dropped the invar rod, which is the center tuning rod. It goes down the center of the duplexer can, was broken off. Fortunately, I met with a good friend up in Black Forest that had pretty much the same exact center tuning rod assembly that we needed. So I picked that up this morning, threw it in, retuned the duplexers, got a little bit more isolation out of them, which is fantastic. Wish the manufacturer had done that to begin with. Set the duplexer back, well, not inside the cabinet, behind the cabinet obviously, and retested the system. Was hoping that would have prevented, or that would have fixed the issue. The other day through last night, the repeater was still acting up, and so we went ahead and disconnected and isolated the hardline, VHF hardline, which is this one right here, from the back of the duplexer. And we did find that there was a higher than normal SWR, so in order to isolate that further, we'd have to disconnect the antenna from the hardline up on top. Matt, our tower climber, we couldn't really get him out here that quickly to do that, and it's kind of a pain to go 80+ feet in the air, especially cold temps to do so. So I went ahead and checked the grounding rod that grounds both the hard lines for the VHF and the UHF side, and I didn't find any shielding issues with the ground rod, and put everything back together. Came back to it this morning, and wouldn't you know it, the thing wasn't acting up. These are one of the frustrating issues with troubleshooting, is you have 2.5 days worth of problems with that. You can replicate the same issue over and over, but when we came back to it early this morning, the VHF repeater is not acting up. It hasn't been acting up all day. Some of you spoke to 2 folks already this morning. They didn't know that it was back online, but they kind of helped out with troubleshooting on their end. Could not get the repeater to hiccup. That is frustrating. Let me tell you, as long as we've been doing repeater work, I've been doing repeater work, troubleshooting on something you can't replicate is really frustrating. So the bottom line right now is the VHF repeater is back online temporarily. We're going to continue monitoring it throughout the day. If any users report any issues with the repeater, please let us know, because although we will be monitoring it, make sure that it's not hiccuping, we really rely on users to let us know if it does. The gist of it, as of today, this morning, we cannot get it to replicate that problem with the PTT hanging as it was before. So we're going to continue looking into it. Because I was able to now take the duplexer out of the equation, the duplexer is fine. Isolated from the feed line back up to the antenna. What could likely be happening, because we did have several really windy days. For example, was about a week, probably about a week ago. We had sustained winds here, 45 miles an hour. That does do a number over time, especially on our VHF antenna, which is 25 plus years old. What I do suspect at this point could be the intermittent issue is that we have a phasing harness issue up on one of the two, there's 4 elements total. We have 2 phasing arrays. I think that we might have an issue, intermittent issue in one of the phasing arrays up on the antenna. And second to that, we could have a arcing between an open short on one of the elements between the center conductor and the shielding. That could be occurring. Beyond that, less likely is a water ingress issue between the antenna and the top feed line where it connects in. There's no issue on the inboard end where it comes through the entry portal. So that's what I'm going to do right now is we're ruling out the duplexer. There it goes. It's working. See, it's working. But the gist of it, everybody, is that it probably is very likely at this point in time no longer the duplexer being an issue. There is no RF issues that are causing a PTT to hang. It's likely that it's our 25 plus year old VHF antenna that is causing an intermittent issue. Like I said, we had all those days of sustained wind, and the top of the mounting plate for the tower is designed not to move more than 8 inches, 360 degrees. It's not supposed to move 8 inches. Matter of fact, since that that antenna is at a 0 tilt, and the reason why it's at a 0 tilt is because you want it to throw out your RF energy over a long spectrum of horizon planes. We got about a 15-degree horizontal stacking where the VHF antenna throws its RF energy out. If it tilts down, that's bad, especially for the purpose of System 1, which is far reach. You don't want it to have a negative degree tilt in that antenna because essentially you can start tilting that RF energy into the ground. So if anything, the guy wire, and it is guide on 3 areas, and the only reason why we have guy wires on that tower is just to keep the top. It's not to guide the tower, it's to keep the top of the mounting plane within that 8 inches maximum of movement at any point in time. But the westernmost guy wire is actually a little bit more snug, and the reason why it's a little bit more snug is to keep the antenna at that 0 degree azimuth. And we do not want it going essentially east, we don't want it going north, we don't want it going south. Although yes, the base of the mounting plate will move about 8 inches and 360 degrees, but what's important is that the antenna itself doesn't go up, doesn't go down. So we have a little bit more snug on the west portion of that guy wire to prevent that. I'm starting to blab on right now. I'm going to waste your guys' time. So let's get back to the gist of it. We have a few more people watching. The gist of it is we've ruled out the duplexer. I've got a little bit more isolation out of the duplexer. It's good. We ruled out any RF issues that'd be causing an EMI or an RF component to for whatever reason, kick the PTT on through the controller. We ruled all that out. Most likely at this point, it is our aging VHF antenna. It's a DB224. They're extremely good antennas, but when we got it, it had already been sitting in a yard for about 10 years, and so we rebuilt it, put it back into service. But it's nothing compared to a manufacturer rebuild. So if it does turn out to be, and I'm leaning towards it being an intermittent issue with that antenna, that sucks. Because those antennas are $2,500 new. But you know what, like every other Gremlin we've had, you know, and it's funny because we do have occasionally people saying, why do you have so many issues with your repeater system? Well, this is the plain damn truth of it. 97% of ECRA's equipment for System 1 is used. And about 70% of it, we don't know the backstory of that equipment. So, like every small organization is just up and coming, you have to start somewhere. I'm not a millionaire. You guys aren't millionaires, so we can't throw millions of dollars at something brand new. So we have to do with what we can. Fortunately, I'm really good at repairing equipment that is busted, and we've been able to keep equipment in service and reliable. But this happens. I mean, we're running on 97% used equipment, okay? There's going to be gremlins, but look at how far we've come along. we have ironed out so many problems, and we've made incremental improvements as we go along. And we're going to continue to progress. We're going to continue moving forward. And heck, if you guys join Saturday's meeting, remember, January 3rd at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, the ECRA membership meeting, we've got some really exciting news about System 2. And we're going to be blasting that away. So we're going to even be expanding. So anyways, I'm not going to blab anymore. I really appreciate you guys' time. That's where we're at right now. System 1 VHF 1 repeater will remain online, and we'll be continuing to monitor it. If anyone has any reports about it, any issues, please let us know. Side note, the UHF repeater has never had a problem, and it was no issue with the VHF repeater was affecting the UHF system. Some people really like using the UHF side. 7-3 Steve, guys. Enjoy. Happy 2026, and we will see you guys later. Hopefully see you guys at the membership meeting. Take care of yourself. This is Brian, KB9 UZO. Take care, everybody. We'll see you.